For those of you in the DBD community that have been living under a rock as of recently, or well, three or more months, the new chapter is Dungeons and Dragons, or D&D for short. If you don't know what that is, I'd be very surprised, because with the popularity of Dungeons and Dragons, you know, most people know what it is, and if you watch Stranger Things, then you know what it is. D&D isn't a straightforward horror license. It's more of a fantasy IP, if anything, but I'm not here to argue if it belongs or if it doesn't belong in DBD. I think it belongs just as much as any other killer or survivor does in the realm. For Christ's sakes, we have Chucky, and Chucky is probably one of the funniest characters on Earth, and he's in the game, so like, I don't think it matters, and plus this opens the door for many other licenses to come into the game. Maybe one day we'll get a Gears of War chapter, or not a chapter, but maybe we'll get some cosmetics, because it does have horror like stuff to it, and I mean, with the new E-Day announcement, you never know. I love Gears of War, and I would love to play as, you know, Marcus, which would not make any sense, because I'm sure Marcus could beat the living crap out of most of the killers in the game, but that's a whole different argument, and it's just like a funny, like, what if, you know, so... But that's not what I want to talk to you about today. Today, I want to talk about one of Vecna's abilities, which is Flight of the Damned, or FoTD for short, but I'm just going to probably keep saying Flight of the Damned. I don't really mind. Basically, what this ability does is let Vecna summon 5 skeletons that, like, go forward in a cone-like radius, and basically, if it hits a survivor, it takes away a health state. Doesn't sound like a big problem. It sounds pretty weak, because the counter to it is literally crouching, or just weaving between them, but most people just crouch, because, like, it's easier to crouch than, you know, play the ability how it's meant to be played, but that's whatever. I feel like it could be buffed in a different way, because the way that people use it now is very obnoxious, in my opinion, and it's, like, I understand why it's used that way, because the traditional way of using it is very, very, very weak. I'm not a game developer. I don't know how to buff things. I don't know. I'm not here to make like a change or request a change. I'm just here to discuss on how this could maybe be changed, or if it's too powerful or not. But right now, Flight of the Damned has a tech, if you want to call it that, kind of like the hug tech from Blight before it was removed, unfortunately, where the Vecna player can summon the skeletons on top of a survivor, and if the survivor doesn't crouch before half a second goes by, they're automatically hit, which wouldn't be a big deal if it was more telegraphed, which I'll get into another killer that has this similar ability, but is way more telegraphed, but still strong, no doubt. Now, as far as I know, the spawn window, like when you spawn, the window to crouch is like half a second. And for a casual player, like, you know, dad getting home from his 9-to-5 construction job, just wants to get on DBD and, you know, relax for a little bit and maybe play a game or two before he has to go to bed. No way does he have the reaction time to crouch in half a second to dodge that ability. And even like, I'm privileged enough to have a lot of time to play. So, and I don't even have that, like, reaction time. I personally don't believe that this is a very fair thing, to be honest, because it's, like, half a second is not reasonable enough. I could understand it, like, a second. Like, then I'd be like, okay, that's fine. But compared to what other killers do, it's just, it's nasty. I think it's nasty. It's kind of not fair, almost. There is a very rare killer on the list of killers that share a similar, very close ability almost to Vecna, and that's Pyramid Head, our 4th year anniversary killer. I love Pyramid Head. I'm glad they added him, and I'm not even a huge Silent Hill fan. I just thought it was like, it's peak Dead by Daylight. It was the peak, in my opinion. Like, I didn't see it ever getting better from there. And like I said, I'm not even a huge Silent Hill fan, and yeah, crucify me if you want. I haven't really played any of the games, and I've watched the movies. Yeah, that's definitely gonna get me some hate. But I still played a lot of Pyramid Head when he came out. I bought some of his cosmetics, and I've played him enough to understand his abilities, how to counter them, how they work. For those of you that forgot how Pyramid Head works because of how rare he is as a killer, here's an update. His power is Rites of Judgment. Basically what that does is when you hold the power button, he slams his blade into the ground and he'll drag it, leaving a trail behind him. Any survivor that walks in this trail gains Killer Instinct, or well, you gain Killer Instinct as the killer, and that tells you basically where their position is for a few seconds, and then it'll go away, and that's about it. It's more of a Legion thing than a Pyramid Head thing. It's just a convenience, you know. If you down a survivor that is already tormented by the trails, you can send them to a Cage of Atonement, and it's a special hook. It doesn't trigger hook perks. That's it. Nothing special to it, really. But the real part of Pyramid Head that I do want to talk about is Punishment of the Damned. And basically what that does is it sends a shockwave forward, a straight line shockwave forward that is very telegraphed, mind you. And basically if it contacts any survivor, it will take away a health state. The difference with this ability and Flight of the Damned is how the ability is told to the survivor during gameplay. You know that Pyramid Head is about to use his ability because you hear him slam the blade deep into the ground and start dragging it. It depends on the material, but you'll hear him dragging it. If it's like in dirt, you'll hear the dirt like start to toss and turn. If it's like metal, you'll hear screeching and stuff. Concrete, it'll just, I don't know, sound like concrete. You hear that as a survivor, and even when he uses the Punishment of the Damned, you see a red little symbol on the ground. It doesn't come up in one like motion immediately. It basically comes up in chunks, like one chunk, one chunk, one chunk, one chunk in front of the other. And basically that red symbol is there to let you know, like, hey, this is coming. You have like a very small amount of time to dodge it, and that's fine. Small amount of timing to dodge something is not bad, as long as it's shown to the player that it's going to happen. Basically, if you get outsmarted or outplayed by the Pyramid Head, that is your own fault. I've seen plenty of Pyramid Heads that do flick shots, and yes, it could be uncounterable, but that comes with time. That comes with a lot of time. You have to play the character a lot to understand that. This ability for Pyramid Head shows that you can make an ability that goes through walls and will hit survivors through walls, but it will still, like, the survivor will know it's gonna happen. The difference with Flight of the Damned for Vecna is that it's an instant. There's no voice line, there's no nothing that the Vecna says or does that lets you know it's about to happen. Even the ability, like, his ability, you can open chest to get items to counter his abilities. The Flight of the Damned one just shows you the ore of the skeletons. If he spawns it through a wall on top of you, there's no ore to read. They're on top of you. You have to crouch within like a half second, and then that's it. That's all you can do. If you don't do that, you're getting hit. And even then, that doesn't really slow him down that much compared to a normal M1 attack. So basically, he's right on top of you again. You have to reach pallet now. If you don't reach pallet now, then you're pretty much, really, it's windows that will save you. You have to reach a window, and maybe you'll be fine. If you reach a pallet, if his Mage Hand is up, you're pretty much, that's it. That's the end of your chase, because he'll just pop Mage Hand and immediately raise that up, and then, like, what do you do then? There's nothing you can do. I don't think it's completely fair that Vecna has 2 free hit abilities. If Mage Hand was a little weaker and wasn't a guaranteed free hit, I don't think that I'd be making this video. Because Flight of the Damned is like, if it was just Flight of the Damned that had this issue, whatever. Like, it would just be straight tech from there. Like, you summon it, you get the hit, they go, and they're like, well, that sucks, but whatever. It'd be like Hug Tech almost. But with the combination of Flight of the Damned and Mage Hand, it just becomes literal chases last 2 seconds. Well, 2 seconds, I'm being a little unfair to that. But basically, you get hit with Flight of the Damned, you go to a pallet, you try to get the stun, you miss your stun, he raises it, and then bam, you get hit by M1 attack because of Mage Hand. It's very obnoxious, it's very annoying. I'm sure survivors have dealt with it long enough to know what I'm talking about. And I'm not calling this for, like, nerf, like, oh, nerf it, nerf it, nerf it. Like, I know that's what the video says, and I know that's what the thumbnail looks like, but I do think there is something else that could be done to not just outright nerf it, because I don't think it deserves to be outright nerfed. I want it to be a strong ability. Vecna is a killer. He is the power role. The killers need to be at least strong, and they need to do something. There's plenty of killers in the game that are completely weak and get stomped by survivors. They could be literally solo queue survivors and be stomped still, like the Trapperies, that weak. But I'm not a game developer, like I said, so I'm not really sure how to buff or change anything. If you have any ideas, please leave them in the comments. I will be reading every single comment down there. And also, if you could, please subscribe. I am nearly at 200 subscribers. I do want to make this a future hobby of mine. I'm been wanting to do this since I've been a kid, but that's a whole different thing. I'm not trying to shove this down your throat, but I'd appreciate it. Liking, literally just watching the video all the way through shows that you like my video, and it'll push out my videos more. So I appreciate it if you have made it this far. If you have any other ideas or topics you'd like me to cover, please also leave that in the comments. And as one last thing, this is a discussion video. I will not tolerate any bad language, no slurs, no nothing, no hate comments to other people in this comment section. Nothing I say or do will change DBD in any way. Nothing you say or do will change DBD in any way. The only people in the community that really have any say on changes is consultants, and even them, they don't have any say on what happens. So, I hope you enjoyed the video, and good night and good luck.